everybody. Welcome back into the Media Tavern, the place where two guys just love to rap about stuff they've watched and listened to. My name is Eric. This is my good friend Todd right here.
How you doing? I'm glad to be back again. I just love doing this stuff.
I'm glad to see you, buddy.
Nice seeing you.
I cherish our conversations about stuff that probably not that many people care about except me and you, and we can really tear it up. So it's good.
This is true, and we get to record it too, so we can
share it with the world, buddy. As the meme goes, December 1st to the 26th, you're feeling very festive, and then the 27th onward, you're kind of confused and full of cheese, and you don't know what day it is. So we're in that zone right now.
I feel like that's me all the time, though. So it doesn't have anything to do with any particular time of year.
You're saying like you're a confused with full of cheese 24/7, 365 kind of guy?
I think so.
All right.
Think so. Yeah.
I can buy that. That's nothing. That's own it, bud. That's what I say.
Speaking of own it, look what I'm wearing here. Do you recognize this is from a movie?
All right, so I'm looking at this shirt you're wearing.
You might as well tell our podcasting audience.
So Todd is wearing a glow-in-the-dark body skeleton, like torso T-shirt. Like
I don't know if it glows in the dark.
It looks like it might, but tell me what's going on with this thing. Tell me.
This is from.
It looks familiar. Let me put it that way.
It's about a fictitious band. The movie's about a fictitious band. Probably way.
Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. Is that Nigel Tufnell's T-shirt?
Yes.
Nice. Hell yes.
1984.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
As soon as you said band, I'm like, I saw that image of him with that shirt on.
Yep.
And he's like, then he says something like,
he's talking about his guitars and that's where the famous, that's the scene with the famous overly used line now. This goes to 11.
Yeah.
But in the guitar shop there. And it's not really supposed to be a guitar shop. That's supposed to be his personal collection of guitars. Yeah. It was actually shot in a guitar shop. That's why there's still tags on the guitars.
Do you ever listen to like Spinal Tap records? Like legitimately listening to music?
Some of the stuff. Yeah, I mean it's okay. I mean,
what album is great is Break Like the Wind, the one that came out kind of like in the early 2000s and no one cared about.
Okay. Oh, was it really?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's got tons of great stuff on it.
They what's neat about that is that they write all their own music, and all that stuff was written by those guys. And I just thought it was so impressive. If you ever watch the Blu-ray or DVD and they have the outtakes, there's a whole collection of outtakes that they've actually kind of put together. It's almost like another film. It's almost like a companion film, and you see the guys actually playing the little song that they kind of hum in the restaurant, I want to go home or whatever it is. They're actually playing
all the way home.
Yeah,
all the way home.
Playing an acoustic version of it, and it's like, wow, it's really impressive. Those guys are great. So I don't know. I just love that movie. I know everything about it. I quote it all the time. It's
me too.
Best films ever.
That movie became such a game changer in the whole musical zeitgeist because it instantly made everything like people feel dumb about being in a band, and you know what I mean? Like it made people feel like really like self-conscious about it, you know? Yeah,
well, I'm sure. Yeah. There's a fine line between clever and stupid. So
sure. We're still exploring that one.
Yeah. Every day.
It's a great, I was talking to somebody about that movie the other day, and I was watching the outtakes with a friend of mine, and we're talking about the outtakes.
Yeah.
And we're talking about how there's a great whole scene with the great Bruno Kirby that they pulled out of the movie where, he's their chauffeur and and he's like, Sammy Davis Jr. has a book, called Yes I Can, but it should be called Yes I Can if Frank Sinatra says
Frank,
it's okay.
I think it was Frank's book.
Yeah. No, Sammy Davis Jr. wrote the book, and he's like,
okay.
It should be called Yes I Can if Frank Sinatra says it's okay. Oh,
that's true. Yes. Okay.
But in the scene, there's a whole thing where like Bruno Kirby, like the outtake where Bruno Kirby like totally burns the band, like he like makes fun of them in the hotel room.
Yeah.
And they obviously pulled that out for time, but also I think they pulled it out because it would be the only time in the whole movie where someone, like they got over on, they make fun of him a lot or something. And it's like the only time in the movie where Bruno Kirby actually like like they get over on someone. You know what I mean? Like like they always, everything goes down in flames for them except this one scene. So they kind of changed it, but
I'd have to see it again. That sounds familiar. It's been a while since I've seen that, but I loved all that outtake stuff. And you could see why they took the stuff out, but it was just a nice little parallel, little like almost a film, because they put it in order, like, you know, like the whole journey of the whole Spinal Tap movie.
Yeah.
They put it all in the same order. And I just thought it was great. It wasn't just a collection of outtakes. So, you know, look at this scene, look at this scene, look at this scene. Whenever you buy a DVD, like they seem to break it out, just put it in one big chunk. I just enjoyed that.
And Harry Shearer and Mike McKeon and Christopher Guest are all great musicians, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Like you ever saw The Folksman? Did you ever see that?
I did. I've got all those movies.
Yeah.
Yep. And also on the DVD of Spinal Tap, if you ever listen to the commentary track while watching the film, that is a riot, because what they are in character, the three guys are in character, and they're like criticizing. The story is they didn't realize that people took this documentary as a joke. And so they realized after, you know, years and years, they're watching this, and they're all kind of like in denial of this, and they're angry at people, and they're pointing out different people, and they're like, see that a waitress behind the counter there? Yeah, she's dead. See, every like extra in the film, they're saying, oh, he's dead. He's dead. It's great. It's
awesome.
That whole DVD is just such a fun experience. So
yeah, it's a great document, and it's funny because it's totally like legit, holds up now.
Yeah,
like if you watch
it does. It does.
Everything is great.
It's so much fun, and I just love the obliviousness of all the characters. They're really, like you said, it made bands, I'm sure, very self-conscious about what they say and did now, because they probably felt like they were expounding, you know, wisdom to the world, and a lot of the stuff they're saying is just so nonsensical. It just doesn't.
Oh, and tons of bands like from that era, like that they're supposed to be from, like understood that they were being made fun of, and were like super like, wow, we really saw ourselves in that, you know?
Yeah. So anyways, but that's not what we're talking about today. What movie are we talking about today?
Todd,
what?
I've got the need for speed. Let's go, bro. Top Gun Maverick. Let's hit it. Take my breath away.
Wow.
Bum, bum, bum.
Digging out the classics.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
So I watched Top Gun Maverick. I'm going to do a little disclosure here. I didn't see it in the theater like many people did.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Okay. I saw it at home. So my and your experience may vary, but
let me ask you this before you start. Did you see the original Top Gun?
So I saw it like when I was a tiny kid, and not that tiny, but I was a kid. And I watched it again right before I watched Maverick.
Okay.
So I watched both on the same day.
Okay.
And I've got some things. I've got some notes, let's say, on the first one as well.
Give me your reaction to the film.
All right. So before we get into Maverick, I want to talk about regular Top Gun. Okay. What is the deal with how many showers those guys take?
I never saw the movie, so honestly,
Bro, what are we doing here?
Yeah, so I should have like gave you that when you talked about it. I never. I'll be honest. During that point in Tom Cruise's career, I just didn't care for his attitude. You know, like it came across too cocky, and this film seemed to be the epitome of that. And so I'll be quite honest, the early Tom Cruise films like Cocktail, and what's the one where the Bob Seger song, I can't even think of.
Home Alone?
No, not Home Alone, whatever it's called. But yeah, I'm sure it's, you know,
Risky Business.
Reckless is not Reckless.
It's Risky Business. I was just kidding that it wasn't. It's not Home Alone.
I never saw any of those. I think the first Tom Cruise film I ever saw was Minority Report. So it took several years before.
Damn, that's late to the game, homie.
Yeah, now I've gone backwards and I've seen some of his stuff since. But
So
yeah, I never saw Top Gun. It never interested me. I'm not really into like airplanes and jets and all that kind of stuff. So it didn't.
when I
Really...
was a kid, I was a big D&D nerd, and Legend was a movie that he's in where he fights this giant.
Oh yeah, that was done by Ridley Scott.
Yeah, Tim Curry's the demon or whatever. It's really
Yeah.
good. But so we won't go too much into Top Gun 1, other than the fact that literally about every half hour after like a jet sequence, the whole gang is in there showering, and they're all like snapping towels and being all sweaty. I'm like, I understand that being like a jet pilot is stressful, but
We don't need
not on a football team. Like, you're not. Why are they showering constantly? And why are you guys showering together? Like, you guys need to shower at the same time. You can't. Like,
and
I'm
you
gonna
see
take a shower
butts and everything. Like, was it for the butt selling point?
Butts.
I guess.
There's a lot of guys like fit men in towels around their waists. You know what I mean? Young, hungry studs like, like Tom and everybody else, the whole gang.
Yeah.
But
Val Kilmer.
Val, who we'll get into here in a minute.
Yeah. Okay.
So the rundown of, I'm going to make this quick because I think everyone on earth has seen this movie pretty much. But like, first of all, well, actually, let's start here. What did you think of this movie overall?
So I've watched it twice. I saw it when it first became available digitally. My reaction the first time was, well, here's the thing. Everybody on the planet talked about that this movie is so great. And a lot of them compared it to Star Wars, which, as you know, is my favorite film. So it's like, you are setting the bar really high. So I watched it and it was okay. I went away with it was okay. Like, it didn't blow me away as everyone talked about it. In prep for this review, I watched it I just finished it right before we started recording this. I enjoyed it more the second time around because all the pressure was off. So I just kind of went into like, okay, I'm just going to watch this film with a fair kind of point of view, and I enjoyed it. I could see where I was touched, where the emotional bits were. Or the flashbacks didn't really mean much to me, but I understood what they were about. The father-son, kind of thing going on there, even with Tom Cruise to whatever his name is,
Miles Teller.
Yeah, Teller.
Miles Tyler.
Teller. Sorry, it's still early.
I know.
Swear I need another cup of coffee. Overall, I enjoyed it. I don't understand Jennifer Connelly's role in it because I don't think she was in the first one, so I didn't get like. Yeah, obviously they were doing all these throwbacks to the first film, and you almost felt like if you didn't, like myself, if you didn't know if she was or wasn't in the first film,
she had nothing.
Think she was.
So, all right, well, yeah, let's go through it, then we'll talk.
Overall, I enjoyed it. It's a decent film. It's not on par with Star Wars, so sorry.
I'm kind of the same way. I thought it was fine. I mean, everyone was like losing their shit about it, going nuts, saying it's the greatest thing ever, and I enjoyed it. I mean, it was fine. And again, back to my caveat from before, had maybe I seen it in the theater, I might have been like, "Whoa, that was amazing!" But it was like, I mean, it was cool. It was good. So, all right, quick synopsis is, we're back with Pete Maverick Mitchell. Tom Cruise plays the kind of the hero of the movie. He's kind of, this is 30 years later after he's won Top Gun back in the first one, which I'll explain to you later. So he's kind of like a test pilot. He's sort of like not really made anywhere in his career. He's kind of like stalled out a captain, and they bring that up quite a bit. And so there's like some kind of like mission that has to be run, and I believe this is where the Star Wars part of it comes in. The whole like mission itself is very blow up the Death Star-y kind of, and they want Mav thinks originally that they want him to go fly it, but what they want him to do is they want him to teach a team how to do this particular like maneuver, this run, and complete this mission. So we're off and running. Mav goes to back to Top Gun, meets up with the ragtag team of the best. One of them being Goose's son, who Goose in the first movie was killed. And it was Mav's best friend, and he got killed in an accident with a jet wash, and he was kind of blamed for it. So Miles Teller plays the son, and he's
He almost kind of looks like him too. Like
he does.
The weird mustache and the hair.
Yeah. And he has all like they kind of build in the personality traits, like he's super fun and he can play piano and all that kind of stuff. And so there's like friction between Pete and, you killed my dad kind of thing with Mav. And then they go through the training, and it's sort of like the typical, like not typical, but like, here's the training. You're going to learn how to be the best of the best in my office now, that kind of thing. All those things that
fail and repeat. Yeah.
Yes. Right. Finally, eventually they kind of get to the point where, they're not going to do it. Like it's over, and they're going to just wash out the program. But then Tom comes through in the last minute. Maverick makes the run, even though they say that it can't be done. He makes the run in 2.55, 2 minutes, 15 seconds.
Yeah. Less than what they expected.
Bucking the system, and jumps in his jet and does it and proves that it can be done. Now they have no choice but to actually do it, because they can see that there's proof of concept. They do the mission.
He'd actually got kicked off of the program.
Yes.
And then when he did that little maneuver, what's his name? Why am I forgetting everybody's name? John Hamm, his superior, has him come back in. And that moment's kind of emotional. I thought it was a nice turnaround.
It was the old in every movie ever. I don't like you, but damn it, I respect you. Exactly. Every single movie like this has that.
Yeah, but it was good. It was done really well. He's going to put his career on. His own career is going to be under suspicion. Allowing this to happen, but he felt like it was the right thing to do, and he was kind of like the antagonist of sorts to Tom Cruise's character for the first part of the movie. I don't know. I think even still going forward, every time they cut to John Hamm, he was like, just this disapproving look, even though he knew he did respect him, like you said.
And then there's kind of a subplot with Jennifer Connelly, who wasn't in Top Gun. Yeah. But they build it in that she had always kind of been there in the background, and like they had messed around back in the day. Her and Maverick, and she has a bar, and they all kind of hang out. All the fly boys hang out at the bar, and they all shoot pool and hit each other in the nuts with pool cues and stuff.
I didn't really get the bell thing too much. Like that was a big. So like I don't know.
No phone on the bar, or else you have to pay for a round.
Okay, I got that, but then you have to pay for everybody. I mean, that's a tab, man.
Well, that was my thing in that part. There was like 1,000 people. I mean, there was like 400 people there.
Yeah, and then when he did it again, there was like 4,000 people.
Yeah,
it's like, and I don't even know what he did wrong the second time. What did he?
They just rang the bell. So Jennifer Connelly, I thought she was great, but her thing was really nothing. Like they could have not even had her in there.
You could have cut that whole subplot out. It wouldn't have affected the story at all, other than the ending. Like he's got something to return to, kind of thing.
I thought she was great, but it was just kind of like a very thin character.
Yeah, I like her. I like pretty much everything I've seen with her in it. She plays believable people. That you could relate to.
I've heard it said that she's really a good foil, like partner for Tom Cruise, because he's so like ridiculously famous and like you know what I mean? Like he's like such a giant star that she's really good at like kind of like the chemistry was good between them, and she's good at kind of like counterbalancing him.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
I thought that was true too.
And she carried herself well, I think. Like you didn't believe. Sometimes when they put women in these like kind of power roles, you think I don't buy it, but you bought it with her. Like you could see that she owned the bar and that she was tough,
tough
in
but
her
fair.
own. Yeah, tough affair in her own arena. But then she played, a nice feminine character in their relationship, So like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it worked well.
So then basically they end up achieving their goal and finishing the Kessel run in less than 5 parsecs. And then then it's like, great job, yay. And then that's kind of pretty much the end. They sort of,
Well, no. Then you got all those jet fighters coming after them, and actually, that's what's kind of interesting of the story, which changes from the Star Wars direction, is they finish their mission, and then that's when the problem begins, because these missiles, counteractive missiles, start coming after them. Then there's these enemy jets that start coming after them and shooting them down, and they actually crash, and
so Miles Teller saves his life, saves Tom's life. He's this like MiG is bearing down on him, about ready to take him out, and then Miles Teller, Goose's kid, comes flying in and saves him. Like boom, and that was actually my favorite. That dogfight at the end was awesome.
Yeah, it was very good. Seeing it the second time, I really enjoyed it, and it felt you did feel the tension,
Yeah.
of it.
And so both of their planes crash in like the frozen tundra of wherever they were.
Yeah.
And so they find each other, which is also absurd, but awesome. Like they would probably be like 10 miles apart at least, but
yeah.
they find each other and he's like, what are you doing up there?
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
I thought they were going to hug it out, and then Tom Cruise starts beating the crap out
but
of him.
Miles has the line of the movie when he's like, you told me not to think.
Yeah.
And he's like,
oh, yeah. Okay.
You're right.
You're right. Let's hug it out.
So they kind of like have to make their way to the air base that they just blew up. Because they had sent out rockets to like knock out their counter planes when they were doing the run, and they find an old F-14, baby. Look out, the old Top Gun model, the one that looked like
is that what it was?
Museum piece.
Same
Yeah,
model?
it was the one that they were flying 30 years ago.
All right.
So they jump in there, fire that baby up, and go ahead. Tell them what happens.
Well, that's when the dogfight happens again. So these enemy craft start closing in on him, and they think, I thought it would have been so cool if he was going to like say fly casual, because I thought that would have been a nice callback to Return of the Jedi. But because these other ships start coming up on him, and they're trying to act cool, they're trying to act like,
he's like
we're one
tapping
of you
on his thing, like
and they're doing hand signals, and he's like, I have no idea what he's doing, and all of a sudden they take these counteraction moves and start basically drilling him down. But through different flying maneuvers and magic and boomity booms, they win the show, and they take off, and all of a sudden another enemy craft is coming towards them, and they're out of missiles, they're out of guns, they're like,
the old museum piece flying in the air, running low on everything.
And what happens? Han Solo sweeps in right at the very end. Yahoo! You're all clear,
this thing
kid.
Go, great shot, kid. 1 in a million.
Yeah, one of the cocky pilots came in with a jet and blew up the bad guy, and everybody's happy. Tom Cruise goes home to Jennifer Connelly. She's not there. He goes back into his garage and starts wrenching on jets, and Jennifer Connelly comes back with her girl, and everybody happy, and they all fly off into the sunset and blah, blah, blah. So that's the movie.
Okay, so there's a couple things that we didn't address in that synopsis.
Okay.
One is Glenn Powell, who I thought was awesome in this, even though he seems like he's about my age, but I love him though. Who's
Glenn Powell?
He played Hangman. He's the guy who saved him at the end.
Oh, okay. I did. What else has he been in? I'm not familiar with him.
Kind of like Glenn Powell in it. I think he's like a TV guy.
Oh, okay. There you go with your TV.
But Iceman, we got to talk about Iceman.
Oh, okay.
Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
So the reason that Maverick is brought back is because his old nemesis / buddy Iceman is now running the whole division there. He's like the rear admiral, and he believes in Maverick coming back and doing this thing, and he's the only reason that Tom / Maverick isn't grounded. And so Iceman has him come back, and they kind of do this thing where, to avoid either showing or getting too much into the weeds with Val Kilmer's physical situation.
Well, people may not know,
Yeah.
people may not know that Val Kilmer has throat cancer, and that there's a whole documentary on Netflix about his. Val Kilmer used to take a bunch of video footage through his.
You had video cameras everywhere all the time.
Everywhere, yeah, and I mean, kind of like me. I mean, I've got everything recorded since I was a kid, and he got throat cancer, and it got increasingly worse and worse and worse, and he can't speak now. He's got one of those little vocoder things or whatever they can put up to his throat, and he sounds like a robot. But in the scene, they've got him wearing like a scarf to kind of cover that hole. And when Tom Cruise goes to visit him, I'm sorry, Maverick goes in to visit him. Val is talking to him he's just like, he's got a word processor open. He was like, what do we want to talk about? I want to talk about this. He's like clicking it out on his keys, clickety, clickety, click. And I just thought, this was kind of cheap. I mean, it's nice that he's in there. But I thought that they were going to do something with him. And then right at the end, he says a line. And I guess they digitally, AI recreated his voice for the movie. And so he mouths the words, obviously, but it's his voice that was AI created for the scene, which is pretty cool. And you could tell because his character in the movie also has cancer.
Yeah. And they kind of address that or disguise it by a lot of their communication is via text, like phone texting.
Yeah. And if you go into the movie knowing that Val Kilmer is very sick, and the text messages seems like, well, that's a cheap way of including him in. But then when you do see him and then he's doing the typewriter, I'm like, okay, well, it's still kind of cheap, but at least he's in there. And then when he does the voice, I'm sure for people who care about the first film, that must have been a very emotional, scene. If you know all that stuff, that probably was it didn't strike me as emotional, but I could see how it was very designed.
Yeah, I mean, Iceman was like, his nemesis, but then they begrudgingly became friends. So of course he's, you're the best, damn it, I respect you, that kind of thing. But I thought they handled that pretty well.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough to deal because when you look at like someone like Val Kilmer and then you look at Tom Cruise, they're like exactly the same age. I mean, or very close in age. So it's like, but they look like different. They're from different centuries.
Yeah, they do not. Well, I'm sure that cancer has just taken a complete
toll for sure
on him. But yeah.
And
then not to give it away, like we have given everything else away. Val Kilmer's character does die in the movie, and then I did a IMDb, make sure he was still alive. I didn't know if he actually died in the making of this film. Val Kilmer himself is still alive, but the character dies.
Yeah, but and I thought that was kind of like a very movie, well done movie thing. The funeral, and he slaps the wings on the coffin and stuff, and I thought that was pretty emotional.
Yeah, it was done well.
So I'm not going to ask you for a rating on this movie, but
I don't know how we do our ratings. Would I see it again is usually my rating, like I said last time, and I saw it again. Would I see it again? Maybe if I'm in the mood. What about you?
I'm good. I saw it. I mean, I don't know.
I like movies often. Do you see movies on repeat? I mean, there's movies I can watch continuously over and over, and I never get tired of them.
I'm not a big repeater of movies or TV for that matter. Like I don't.
Okay.
I there's so much for me to go forward, and I'm not trying to sound like I'm noble or like, oh, there's so much out there. I just. Good. Yeah, I don't even own a TV. But I just don't. I just usually just would rather go on. Some things I'll rewatch. I probably won't visit this again. Although while I watched it, it was great, and it went. I enjoyed it. It was fine.
Well, I enjoyed it the second time. So
all right. Well, there's that. That's good.
All right. Now I think it's time for us to turn into our corners.
Today in my corner, I'm going to talk about a show I've been watching on Paramount Plus. Again, this isn't like the Paramount Plus special edition, but we're going to go for it anyway. There's a show with Sylvester Stallone called Tulsa King.
Oh,
it is bananas. Like
bananas, like good bananas.
I don't know. It's one of those shows like most Taylor Sheridan shows that I've ever watched. This being a Taylor Sheridan show, I have no idea if it's good or bad. Like I don't know.
What else has this guy done? I'm not familiar with.
He's done everything. Like everything that's on TV right now, pretty much like Yellowstone.
Oh.
He's done which something we talked about, or Mayor of Easttown. Mayor of Kingstown. He's doing that new Harrison Ford show, the 1883, I think it is. 1923. There's like a million different movie years.
So
Tulsa
stuff,
King,
right?
Tulsa King is like Sylvester Stallone plays this kind of like in the twilight of his years gangster guy who did 25 years in prison for basically took the rap for the capos, like something that like a murder that he did. So, and he wouldn't, so Sylvester wouldn't, he wouldn't give up the goods. Dwight Manfreni is his name. And so for 25 years he spent in prison, he comes out, he wants to get back in the game. And because things have changed in the mafia organization, they send him to Tulsa, Oklahoma, where he can go do whatever he wants basically as a mobster. So from there, he kind of like decides that he's going to like take over all the little dink and dunk crime things that are not really crime things, but like illegal to kind of shady businesses that are happening in there. One of them being like a weed dispensary that he kind of like takes over. And I don't know. I have no idea what to say. It's so insane, the show, because
insane. Like what way is it? Like
it's like big, giant, huge Stallone in this impeccable mafia pinky ring gear, walking around Tulsa, Oklahoma, like befriending all the kind of like ne'er-do-wells and bartenders and weirdos. And they're all like, like in the Expendables, how like they're all like kind of like bro buddies and they like kind of rib each other and that's how this is. Like they're all kind of like they all kind of have these like discussions like, sounds good, buddy, see you later. Like it's very like they're very like close. It's weird, man. I like it, but it's a straight like, and again, I don't know if it's good or bad. I have no idea. Like it's just I watch it. I can't tell if it's like
so the verdict's
greatest
still out.
Thing I've ever seen, or if it's
how deep are you into it?
I think I'm like just about done. I've watched like 6 of 8 episodes. I think it's got like a lot of familiar faces that you've probably seen, like Max Casala and Dana Delaney, like people that you have seen before.
Okay.
And they make this character kind of like this Jesus figure. He's very humble, but he's also tough and he's not going to take any crap. They beat up a bunch of bikers in one episode that are like a rival.
So I mean, if he's a gangster, is he a good guy or bad guy if he's beating up these bad guys?
Yeah, so they make him to be like a gangster with the heart of gold.
Okay.
And he's, like fighting the good fight, but he's also like in it for his piece. And at the same time, he's like kind of getting it on with this FBI agent who's kind of on his tail. And she's like, probably like in her late 40s, and she finds out that Stallone is 72 after they get together the first time. Oh. She's like, what? But
that's a nice ego thing for him.
Yeah.
For Stallone. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. And he's like, I can't help it. I'm so awesome.
No big deal.
He's like, I love Sylvester Stallone for what it's worth. Like, but he's such a like. It's like him and Schwarzenegger are such a strange museum piece. Like they're so like weird in anything they ever do because it's just them, like in space or as an FBI agent or a mobster. Like it's just them, plug them into this weird scene, and it's the weirdest show ever. because
Yeah.
also Stallone is aged so strangely with all the plastic everything.
Yeah.
But he still looks cool. Like he has the greatest sunglasses ever in this show. They're phenomenal. And he looks great. Like, I mean, as far as like his suits go and the dialogue, sometimes you just hear stuff and you're like, did they wrote this? Really? This made it through? Because Taylor Sheridan, like, is the writer, creator. I mean, he's like the whole shooting match of all these shows.
Okay.
And he's got like 100 shows out. So he must just be like cranking out these. I imagine you could take one of his scripts and move it to another show and just put it in the characters and they'd be like, all right, everything's good. But with the like success of Yellowstone, you know, it's like this he was able to make something like this. And again, like, it's just, I have no idea if it's good or bad. Kind of like Mayor of Kingstown. I don't know if it's good or bad. I just watched every episode. I liked it, but I couldn't tell you like, oh yeah, that's a good show, or man, that show sucks. No idea. But it's just completely a gray area that I'm filling my brain with. But
all right.
so
well, it sounds kind of fun. Sounds kind of fun.
It's fun as hell. It's just I don't know what to make of it, but I love it. So that's my little corner soapbox so far is Tulsa King on Paramount.
I love it. All right, my corner this week is I think I'm going to still go with this theme of movies that hardly anyone's heard of. And this one is The Last Movie Star.
Are you talking about like The Last Action Hero? What are you talking about?
No. This is The Last Movie Star. I know it sounds very similar.
Oh, wait, is this the Burt Reynolds thing?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
awesome. All right, cool.
And
go.
It's basically, when you're watching this film, the story is about this aging movie star, and he realizes he is at, basically the end of his career. You see him in the beginning of the movie, and he's like hobbling around, and I mean, many times I feel that way now. I can't even imagine what this body is going to feel like getting to his age. But he's just like, he's all bent over, and he has trouble getting up and down out of chairs, and you really feel bad for him. And you're actually wondering, I know he's not doing that well. Is he acting or is this like they caught his antics on film? But he's he it doesn't seem like he's got much of a career going. I mean, he just lives alone. The movie starts out though, his dog is sick and dies, and he takes it to a vet, for it to be put down. Or I guess the dog doesn't die, but they put it down at the vet because it's not doing well at all. And, he goes home in his rather large house and he's all alone. He gets together with his buddy, Chevy Chase, who's not playing Chevy Chase, but he is another washed up old actor. And they're just sitting around. They're sitting outside. They're sitting outside, like drinking coffee at like a coffee shop, watching across the street where an aerobics class is taking place. And just like these two dirty old men drinking coffee, commenting on this, Burt Reynolds says to Chevy Chase that he got this thing in the mail that he is supposed to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award at this Nashville Film Festival. And he goes, I've never even heard of this. And Chevy Chase is like, yeah, I think I've heard of it. Yeah, no. And he says, and Burt Reynolds shows him the flyer that he's got. And he's like, look who it says here. There was, and it lists a bunch of like older stars that had also received this award. He goes, dude, you should go because they'll pay for his flight. They'll pay for his hotel, and really set him up. So he goes there, and it's this, basically, kids in their 20s that appreciate movies, and they do this like once a month kind of thing, where they like basically put an actor or an actress on a pedestal and show films, but it like takes place in a back room at a bar, and it's just this, it's hardly your idea of what a film festival is, and nothing Burt Reynolds was excited about it all, and he's like all pissed off that he feels like he's been fooled. from there the movie moves on, and that's the setup. What does he do? Does he go home? What exactly happens? There's a whole thing that takes place that puts Ariel Winter is the sister of the brother that set up this festival, and she is like his personal chauffeur, but she is dressed kind of real skimpy clothes, and she's constantly on her phone. She's texting while she's driving anywhere. And it's a really clash of like, older generation, newer generation. And the antics that go on between them is just so great. I mean, the dialogue is beautiful. And I really, really enjoyed this film. I've seen it several times, and I would highly recommend this film to anyone who likes Burt Reynolds, that just likes a good story. It's a nice, fun story. I think that you can, your family could watch it too, depending on, if you don't mind your family listening to some swear words. So, but it is rated R, but it's a very nice movie. And some of the things that they've done too is when they're showing old movies in this film festival, they are they're not showing Burt Reynolds movies, but they are, because this guy's character's name is Vic Edwards. So Burt Reynolds plays Vic Edwards. So they're having this Vic Edwards film festival, but they're showing old Burt Reynolds scenes. And there's some really neat things that they do with that. They have old Burt Reynolds talking with new Burt Reynolds. I'm sorry, let me say that again. They have old Burt Reynolds talking with his younger self in these little film clips. And it's done really well. It's a lot of fun. So if you like Smokey and the Bandit, if you like Deliverance and all those great Burt Reynolds films, this is just I think a super movie to kind of ends up his career, ends up his life. I think it was one of the last things that he did before he died. And I just think it's a beautiful film.
Sounds good. What's it called again?
It's called The Last Action Hero. The Last Movie Star. Yeah.
That movie sounds like the one you're talking about, the Burt Reynolds movie. Another good suggestion, if you're not a Burt Reynolds-ophile, would be the movie Hooper, which is like another kind of like Burt Reynolds inside Hollywood sort of like thing.
I saw it not too long ago. Love
that movie.
I loved it when I was a kid, but now it doesn't play so well with the whole Dom DeLuise silliness. It's just, when was the last time you saw it?
Oh, shit, probably 10 years ago, at least.
I'm telling you, it doesn't play as well today. Me and my brother, who were huge Hooper fans back in the day, and the red Trans Am and all that.
I was going to say that was the only reason everyone liked it, because it was
I love that movie.
Back with the red Trans Am.
But it plays so goofy now, and there's a lot of the, his silly laugh, and it's just, it doesn't work as well. But
we have got to sample that for a drop. That was perfect. All right, so that was your corner. That was my corner was Tulsa King with Sly. You had Burt, so we're kind of going back old school on this stuff.
What are we doing next time?
So I saw a movie last night that I think we should talk about next time.
Okay. You want to give us a clue?
Yes, it is. I'll give you a very good hint. It's called The Fabelmans.
Is it The Fabelmans?
You got perfect. Yeah, I saw The Fabelmans last night at a really cool theater in Ann Arbor called the Michigan Theater.
Oh, yeah.
So it was great to see it in that environment. And I have copious notes on this movie.
Well, good.
I have notes, sir.
I saw it. I actually had purchased the film. I was looking forward to it, and so I purchased it for like $25. So I own it. So I did. I got to see it way before you did, and way before a lot of people that I know. I think we're probably all waiting for it to come to some streaming service.
Yeah.
The ones that were kind of like mediocre on whether or not to see it or not. We know it's Spielberg, so there's a pretty good chance it should be good. I mean, I don't think Spielberg's had some misses in the last few years, so I don't know. We'll have to see what we think of this.
Well, we'll talk about it next time, but keep the people in suspense, because like I said, I've got lots of notes. I like to talk about the movie theater going experience a little bit, because I went to the actual theater, and so yeah, we'll talk about that next time.
Sounds good.
All right. For Todd Stanton, my name is Eric. Thanks for coming into the Media Tavern, and we will see you next time.
Thanks again.